All right, so here were the two problems that we had for our do not today. This is objective 22.3a. 22.3a. And yes, I know some of you may not be here yet, may not have gotten here yet, but I strongly encourage you to make sure that you're listening for this because this happens to be an easier one. An easier one that's later on that you want to make sure that you get done. So, yes, question. That is correct. 22.3a. And what this deals with is something called the discriminant. The discriminant is part of something called the quadratic formula. We'll talk about the quadratic formula tomorrow, or Monday, I should say. But part of the quadratic formula is to calculate something called the discriminant, which is the value of b squared minus 4ac. Now, you might be wondering, okay, well, what is b, what is a, and what is c then? Well, here's what you have to make sure of. You have to make sure that you have a number attached to x squared, a number attached to x, and then a number attached to, well, no x at all. Here's the problem with this first equation. It's a little tricky. You can actually simplify it. So you end up with just one number attached to x squared. Okay? So looking at this one right here, I'm going to simplify it a little bit. That's 1x squared minus 8x squared. What is 1x squared minus 8x squared? It's negative 7x squared, correct? Right, so I'll write down negative 7x squared minus 9 equals 0. Now we have to determine what's in front of x squared, what's in front of just the variable x, and then what is all on its own. You'll also notice that we have equals 0. That needs to happen, okay? You need to have equals 0. Well, the number in front of the x squared term, negative 7. That's the coefficient, okay? So this number right here is my a. Is there even an x here? No. Okay, if there is no x, then b equals 0. Okay? This only happens when there is no x, or if there is no a. Okay, what about the value of c? Well, the c is the number that it doesn't have an x or an x squared attached to it. In this case, it's negative 9. So c equals negative 9. Let's review. That's a equals negative 7, b equals 0 because there is no x, and c equals negative 9. All I'm doing is putting what the numbers are that are in front of x squared, that are in front of x, and there are just no variable attached to it. And then we calculate b squared minus 4ac. Well, what is b in this problem again? 0. So then I'm going to put down 0 squared minus 4 times a. A in this problem is negative 7. C in this problem, negative 9. And I just simply calculate this. That will give me the value of the discriminant. Okay, so then let's do the multiplication first, right? So 4 times negative 7 times negative 9. Ooh, this one I might need a calculator for, right? So we definitely want to make sure we do this math correctly. It is a negative times a negative. We get 252. Okay, that is 0 minus 252. What is 0 minus 252 then? Negative 252. Okay, so the value of the discriminant is negative 252. And all I did to calculate it was find out what a, b, and c were, and find out what b squared minus 4ac equal. Then it says, how many real solutions does it have? Here are the 3 different situations. If your discriminant is negative, make sure you're listening. If discriminant what we just found is negative, you have no real solutions or 0 real solutions. Okay? 0 real solutions if the discriminant is negative. If the discriminant is positive, then you have 2 real solutions. And last but not least, if the discriminant equals 0. If I found out what b squared minus 4ac was, and it gave me a value that was equal to 0, then there's 1 real solution. So this is a situation where we had the answer to be negative 252. How many real solutions will it have then? 0. None. There are no real solutions because the discriminant was negative. So 0 or none. Let's go to the next one. Yes, question. You writing anything down? No. Let's go to this. It says, use this quadratic equation to answer the question below. Same idea. What is the value of the discriminant? B squared minus 4ac. In this problem, let's identify the a, the b, and the c. A equals the number in front of the x squared term. Yep, 1/4, right? Hopefully you were thinking 1/4. Okay? So a equals 1/4. This one's a little tricky because it almost looks like it has the number after the x a little bit. But it truly is the number that's attached to the x. So why is it 1/4? That's a good question. Okay. Because technically x squared over 4 means 1x squared over 4. Yeah. So we have b. B is equal to, careful, don't say just root 7. It's going to be negative root 7. So b is equal to negative square root 7, the number in front of the x, or attached to the x. And c in this problem equals 7. Everybody good on identifying what's the a, what's the b, and what's the c? Questions on that? Negative roots? Negative root 7? Because it basically is whatever's attached to the x. The x is right next to the root 7. So the minus sign right here and the root 7 right here are basically the same put together to make that negative root 7. All right, b squared minus 4ac. Let's calculate it now. b is negative square root 7, and I'm squaring that. Minus 4. A in this problem is 1/4. C in this problem is 7. So then we do calculations. We evaluate this. Negative root 7 times negative root 7 is what negative root 7 squared really means. A negative times a negative will make it positive. And one of the things that you may remember from 22.1a is that a square root and a square will essentially cancel each other out. So it's essentially 7. Minus, now let's do the multiplication before we do the subtraction. 4 times 1/4 times 7, if you did this in your calculator, you'd find 4 times 1/4 times 7 is 7. 7 minus 7 equals 0. So how many real solutions does it have? 1. Done. Okay. This is what 22.3a deals with.